Hello and good day. It's me, Marjorie Untal, and this is my blog about Tagore and Gandhi's life. Rabindranath Tagore's life. Rabindranath Tagore was born on May 7, 1861 in Calcutta. Tagore began to write verse at an early age. He was the youngest son of Devendratha Tagore, a leader of the Brahmo Samaj, which was a new religious sect in 19th century Bengal and which attempted a revival of the ultimate monastic basis of Hinduism as laid down in the Upanishads. He was educated at home, and although at 17 he was sent to England for formal schooling, he did not finish his studies there. In his mature years, in addition to his many-sided literary activities, he managed the family estates, a project which brought him into close touch with common humanity and increased his interest in social reforms. After completing studies in England in the late 1870s, he returned to India where he published several books of poetry starting in the 1880s. In 1901, he also started an experimental school at Shanti Niketan where he tried his Upanishadic ideas of education. From time to time, he participated in the Indian nationalist movement, though in his own non-sentimental and visionary way. And Gandhi, the political father of modern India, was his devoted friend. Tagore was knighted by the ruling British government in 1915, but within a few years, he resigned the honor as a protest against British policies in India. Tagore had early success as a writer in his native Bengal. With his translations of some of his poems, he became rapidly known in the West. In fact, his fame attained a luminous height, taking him across continents on lecture tours and tours of friendship. For the world, he became the voice of India's spiritual heritage, and for India, especially for Bengal, he became a great living institution. Rabindranath Tagore's writing is deeply rooted in both India and Western learning traditions. Apart from fictions in the form of poetry, songs, stories, and dramas, it also includes portrayals of common people's lives, literary criticism, philosophy, social issues, and the others shortly before his death on August 7, 1941 in Calcutta, India. Rabindranath Tagore originally wrote in Bengali, but later reached a broad audience in the West after recasting his poetry in English. In contrast to the prince's life in the West, his poetry was felt to convey the peace of the soul in harmony with nature. Mahatma Gandhi's life. Indian political reformer and spiritual leader Mohandas Gandhi was born on October 2, 1869 in India. His father was the Diwan or Prime Minister of the Porbandar state. His mother was deeply religious. The young Gandhi absorbed early the influences that would play an important role in his adult life, including compassion to others, vegetarianism, fasting for self-purifications, and mutual tolerance between individuals of different creeds. Gandhi was married at the age of 13, which was not unusual given the customs of his culture. His bride, Kasturba, also was 13. In 1885, when Gandhi was 15, the couple's first child was born, but survived only a few days. Gandhi and his wife went on to have four more children, all sons. Kasturba could not read or write, and Gandhi's attempt to teach her were fruitless. Although she often had to submit to her husband's decisions, she also had a will of her own. The marriage endured until her death in 1944. In 1888, Gandhi went to London, England to study law, leaving his wife for 3 years. After he was called to the bar, he returned home to practice as a lawyer in Bombay. Unable to find a suitable post, Gandhi moved to South Africa in 1893. In South Africa, Gandhi faced discriminations directed at Indians. Initially, he was thrown off a train after refusing to move from the first class to a third-class coach while holding a valid first-class ticket. Traveling further by stagecoach, he was beaten by a driver for refusing to travel on a float board to make room for a European passenger. He suffered other hardship on the journey, including being barred from many hotels. In another of many similar events, the magistrate of a Durban court ordered him to remove his turban, which Gandhi refused. These incidents have been acknowledged as a turning point in his life, serving as an awakening to contemporary social injustice and helping to explain his subsequent social activism. It was through witnessing and experiencing firsthand the racism, prejudice, and injustice against Indians in South Africa that Gandhi started to question his people's status within the British Empire and his own place in society. Gandhi gained fame as a tenacious political campaigner who courageously opposed discriminatory legislations against Indian settlers. His ideological basis was much derived from the liberal humanist values he had absorbed in England, exemplified in the work of Ruskin, Thoreau, and Emerson. Gandhi remained in South Africa for 20 years and developed a system of non-violent defiance. For his services during the Boer War in 1899 and 1802, Gandhi was awarded the War Medal. In 1914, Gandhi returned permanently to India. He became a highly influential figure in the National Congress, transforming it into an instrument of change. Following the massacre at Amritsar in 1919, in which British soldiers killed hundreds of Indians, Gandhi launched a policy of non-violent, non-cooperation to secure independence from Britain. This process made Gandhi a guru-like figure, addressed by the people as Bapu or Father and Mahatma or Great Soul. Resistance method included strikes, refusal to pay taxes, abandonment of Western for Indian dress, and refusal to respect colonial law. One step enough for me, Gandhi often said way of life. With his loincloth, steel-rimmed glasses, wrought sandals, a thoughtless smile, and a voice that rarely rose above a whisper, he had a disarming humility. He used a stone instead of soap for his bath, wrote his letters on little bits of paper with little stumps of pencils which he could hardly hold between his fingers, shaved with a crude country's razor, and ate with a wooden spoon from a prisoner's bowl. Gandhi was jailed several times and went on hunger strike to focus attention on his cause. When communal riots started on India's northwest frontier, Gandhi undertook a 21st day fast. After he had walked some 200 miles on foot to the sea to collect salt illegally, the viceroys started to relieve the punitive salt taxes and the government monopoly. A big part of Gandhi's legacy was his belief that at the core of every religion is truth and love, compassion, non-violence, and the golden rule. His questions hypocrisy, malpractices, and dogma in all religions.